From the physics point of view, it can solve the world problems, but obviously on a practical level, it's a bit more complex.
That's Zvi Lando, CEO of SolarEdge, one of the world's leading manufacturers of solar inverters that convert the power of the sun into electricity. Much of Europe and the US has sizzled this summer in one of the hottest years on record, but the sunshine can also be part of the solution.
Solar power was just 3% of global electricity supply last year, and a recent report from McKinsey suggested it could be 60% by 2050. So how are we going to get there?
We're already seeing acceleration of adoption of solar, primarily because of the increase in power prices and the reduction of costs of solar installation. The nice thing and one of the advantages of solar PV is that it can be distributed and installed in many places. One of the challenges is that it generates power, not necessarily at the time that you actually need and consume it. And that's why today solar systems at a much higher rate have stationary storage or batteries attached to them.
So how does your technology at SolarEdge help to get past some of these technological challenges?
So we introduced roughly 12 year ago a unique architecture that is going to be DC optimized. We have an optimizer that is attached to every solar panel in an installation and maximizes the energy that that solar panel is generated before it is converted to AC and moved into the grid. That architecture enables better harvest of the energy coming from the sun and also enables easy attachment of a battery, which is a DC architecture as well, and that way getting higher efficiency and faster return on investment.
In the US, the recently passed Inflation Reduction Act includes $128 billion of tax credits for solar, wind and energy storage. The administration aims to more than double the annual pace of solar installations nationwide and cut the price of solar power by more than half.
Obviously, the incentives themselves are also significant. And if today roughly 3 or 4% of residential homes in the US have solar systems on them, and less than 1% of commercial buildings have solar systems on them, the opportunity is huge, the need is huge, and these incentives will help more rapid adoption of solar in the United States.
Do you think solar energy firms are still overly reliant on this kind of political goodwill and federal funding, or are they profitable in their own right?
I think that in most areas of the world, it's reached a point where photovoltaics are the cheapest or one of the cheaper means for generating energy because of the reduction in the cost of a solar installation, the increases in power prices.
But China is involved in manufacturing about 80% of solar components, and that means pandemic supply chain problems and factory shutdowns due to coronavirus have hit the availability of panels worldwide. The US is trying to encourage domestic manufacturing, but it has some distance to catch up.
Some of the regulatory changes, including the recent announcements in the United States, as well as in India, have already begun to seed large solar module manufacturing facilities outside of China. And I believe that over time, the ratio will shift and become more healthy.
The recent funding announcement in the US has made the stock prices of companies like SolarEdge look bright, but there are challenges ahead.
From the physics point of view, it can solve the world problems, but obviously on a practical level, it's a bit more complex. I think that in light of some of the challenges that we're dealing with in the supply chain, obviously we rely on electronic components where we've been experiencing a global shortage, as well as some limitations of manpower. It's not only about creating an environment that supports solar installations, it's also adopting the industry to be able to support this type of growth. So growth has been pretty rapid.
Are you an optimist then?
Always.